Well, hey everyone, and welcome to my blog again. Look, I just want to encourage you again. Today, I think, this last couple of days actually, God has really spoken to me about His love and friendship for me and with me and through me. And it's so easy for us to overcomplicate our relationship with God and maybe to put a kind of pressure on it that's not real and not necessary. And I want to read to you today from this was John chapter 15, and Jesus is using a wonderful metaphor of the grapevine. And before I read it, I want to just sort of bring out a couple of things about a grapevine. For starters, what a remarkable thing a grapevine is, because it produces this wonderful juicy grapes that we love to eat. And then we take those grapes and we can turn them into grape juice, or even better, we can ferment them and turn them into wine. And there's a great romance associated with grapevines and wine. And one of the things I loved when I was over in Napa Valley last year was, we were there during harvest time, and we were able to go through the grapevines, and there was the Shiraz grape, and we could eat them off straight off the vine and try it. And there was the Cabernet, we could try that, and a bunch of different grape varieties we were able to try. So there's this idea that you walk through, and the fruitfulness of the vineyard is there. But what you don't see is the work that the vine grower has gone to make those grapes what they are. There's the tending and the fertilizing and the watering, and then there's the running, the trellises, and I might include a photo with this one to show you what I mean. But there's such work, such craftsmanship, such amazing time spent in producing those grapes. And the other thing they have to do is they have to, at the right time of year, to cut back the old vine so that the new vines come through and produce better quality fruit, and tastier fruit. And so it's in the context of this that Jesus uses this metaphor. And it's John chapter 15, verse 1. I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine grower. He removes every branch in me that bears no fruit. Every branch that bears fruit, he prunes to make it bear more fruit. You have already been cleansed by the word that I have spoken to you. Abide in me as I abide in you. Just as the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Those who abide in me and I in them bear much fruit, because apart from me you can do nothing. I think I had a really touching moment this week when I shared my heart for people at our Bible study group, and I just said, the burden I'd felt I'd carried because of my care and concern for people, and just the way they turned around and loved me, and really struck me that we're in this together. There's a real partnership that we're doing with God when we abide in the vine. When we realize the great friendship that God offers us, and when we accept that friendship, and then we start to work with His friendship. God is this tremendous tender gardener of our lives, and he fertilizes and he waters and he tends us, and sometimes prunes us, the parts of our lives that have gone off track, the parts of our lives that have fallen into, what we would call sin, which is, we've chosen to be our own God, or we've made choices that have not been great for us. God prunes them, He cuts them back, using life, usually, to cut them back. And, so that when we learn through life to actually do things with God, and when we learn to trust in His friendship and trust in His work in our lives, and when we say to God, here I am, Lord, use me, and when we submit our plans to God, and when we ask God to take control and to lead us and guide us, and when we go God's way, and we do the things that His word teaches us to do, we love our neighbor as ourselves, we put others ahead of ourselves, when we humble ourselves, when we do all the things that the scriptures teach us, then we're abiding in the vine. And it's, people get so confused about this. Often we think that we do all these things to please God. We don't. Jesus pleased God. That's the end of the story. The reality is what we do is about abiding. We are obedient to God to abide in the vine. We follow to abide in the vine. We love others to abide in the vine. Our whole purpose in life as Christians, once we receive Jesus, is to abide in Him and to learn to live and be and act like him. But we can only do it in his strength. You know, when we try to do it ourselves, we become religious. We become proud, arrogant. We become religious police. That's perhaps the worst thing. You know, it's the way you can always tell someone who's not abiding in the vine. They're doing it themselves. They take it upon themselves to be the religious police, and they tell other Christians where they're going wrong, and you know, they make out that they're responsible for rooting out false teachers, and you know, they become the only authority on what is truth, and you know, that religious spirit takes a hold of them because they're not abiding. Because the truth is, you know, God is the one who sorts his people out. You know, God is the one who decides who's in and who's out. God is the one who walks with his children and mentors them and guides them. And it's not our job. Now, our job is to love people. Our job is to be faithful to God, to live with him and abide with him. And you know, so for me, this week in this metaphor, which I just love, I love the fact that my God is my gardener, and he has such tender care for me that he, even when I'm producing good fruit, he's still pruning so that I produce better fruit. You know, and wherever you're at in life, know this, is that no matter how advanced you think you are or how poorly advanced you are, no matter whether you think you're a babe in discipleship, whether you think you're really mature, the same truth is true, that you have a gardener who is interested in you and wants you to bear good fruit and wants to water, fertilize and prune you through the journey of life to bear even more fruit. So look, whatever you're going through right now, know that your gardener is tending you, and he wants you to bear good fruit. Love you guys, missing you all very much. I really can't wait till the day I can just give everyone a big hug, and praying for you all. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye.